why did I come to Earth anyway? What the hell's the point here? Hi, I'm Nicole Justine Reed. What happens when life doesn't seem to make sense anymore? How do you find meaning when it all seems lost? These are really big existential questions that we all go through at different times, I bet. And some of us more than others. Maybe some of us are really living in that question. Like, what is the meaning of life? And then we suddenly find it and life is so wonderful. And then all of a sudden we lose it and we're like, wait, what's going on? For some of us, though, if you're on the spiritual path and you're consciously really wanting to activate your spiritual growth, maybe you ask the universe for some big leap in progress. And all of a sudden you got like, whoa, hit with it. And you're kind of like now floating around going, why did I come to Earth anyway? What the hell's the point here? Right? It happens. It can happen. And this is just maybe a part of our human and spiritual experience. So one of the biggest things that have helped me with this is something actually I learned from one of my coaches years and years ago. So I was having an existential crisis. Several days, I just really felt like there was just no point at all. It was just, but there was this sort of awareness that life and death, don't really matter. That it's like, what's the point in anything? Because we're all going to die anyway. And if we're all part of like a big consciousness, then like life goes on beyond the human form. So like, why did we even come to the human form to begin with? And like, what is the point in all this daily living? Because you can find meaning in all of the daily living points and you can say, oh, I'm here to help people. But then it's like, if you take it to the next level, for what, right? For the raising of the consciousness of the planet. That sounds wonderful. Okay, great. Like, we're all about love. Let's do it. And then what? And then it's like, then we all die. And then if you believe in reincarnation, right? Or you believe in like the soul's evolution, that we're just all kind of coming back to Earth, learning new lessons. It's like, oh, okay, it's for the purpose of learning new lessons. That's all great, right? But then it's like, and then what? Then the universe like implodes, expands. But then after that, then what? Right? Like, then what? What's the point? So it's like, there's this range in which there's a lot of meaning, and then there's a range in which is like no meaning and like everything is meaningless. And then there's a range where it's like too much meaning, like everything matters, like the coffee pot needs to be exactly in this place and the temperature needs to be this way and I have to wear the exact thing and like you get all OCD about it, right? So there's these ranges. I've experienced all of these ranges. And what my coach had said to me at the time was, be careful where you zoom your lens. You get to choose where you zoom your lens. And so, yeah, you can zoom it way the heck out into the universe, into the galaxies, and you can say, you know what the hell's the point in all of it? It doesn't really freaking matter that we're here, and it doesn't matter that we're going to leave. None of it matters. Because that is a truth. None of it matters. Nothing matters. Then you can zoom way the heck right into the little, details of your day and be like, this matters, my to-do list matters, and this matters, and this matters, and this matters, and then maybe get a little too controlling. So you get super apathetic and purposeless and meaningless and just kind of unmotivated and just like listless. And then you can get really like hypervigilant, really intense, really controlling, really stressed out and kind of anxious and like, right? And then there's this beautiful spot in the middle where you're not too zoomed out, you're not too zoomed in, where you're kind of just hanging out and enjoying life. And you're like, you know what? I am doing some good in the world, helping other people on their journey. I'm learning lessons. It's kind of fun to learn these lessons. Ooh, it's nice to learn how to cook, or I like reading this book, or I took that class, or I contributed something really valuable at work today, or I listened to a coworker, or a family, a friend. We had a great connection. We had this eye contact and this soul connection. And it was a beautiful moment, right? All that stuff lives in the spaces between these two extremes. And so there's a truth that everything matters, and there's a truth that nothing matters. But in my own experience, both of these extremes cause a lot of unhappiness for me. And so when I get into one of these states, I become aware of it, and I think, you know what, do I want to zoom my lens out or in this, to these extremes? It doesn't feel good. It's not a perspective that I want to live in. And if I get to choose my perspective, which I do, and which you do get to do, I'd rather live in some juicy space in between. And maybe some days it's a little bit closer here, and on some days it's further out here, and it's just sliding along the scale, right? It's not about like dead center necessarily. It's just about kind of moving around, right? And noticing what happens in your body as you do that. And where does it feel delicious? Where does it feel exciting and nourishing and alive? And then linger there, because why not? Right? If it makes you feel good and it helps you enjoy life and it gives you a sense of meaning for today, Why not? Just do it, right? Zoom into the place where it feels good, to feel something nice in your body, because really what you're wanting is to feel good, right? As healthy creatures, we move towards pleasure, away from pain, right? And apathy is its own kind of pain. It's like an emptiness, right? And rigidity and control is like a tense kind of constrictive pain, right? So there feels like there's pain on both of these sides of the spectrum, but there can be a lot of pleasure in between, right? So zoom your lens to what makes sense for you. And when life seems to have no meaning, chances are you've zoomed out too far. And it's time to just kind of reel back in a little bit, focus on something that makes you happy for this moment, for today, and then you can grow that seed into something for the next day, and for the next day, and for the next day. Right? You get to determine what you want to get out of life. Really, in the end, I don't know what the purpose is. I have a lot of thoughts on that, and I'll probably go into that in some other videos, because my thoughts on that have changed over time. Changes according to my own experience and my own evolution and downloads that I get. But for today, I just want you to focus on where your lens is zoomed in, what feels good for you at this time, and be okay with that. See you next time.